Good morning.
Good morning.
We are prayerful, so we pause this morning as we gathered, united from our various faith communities. We, the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, have the same desires and intents to perform good works by representing and advocating for our neighbors, friends, relatives, and all of Virginians. We pray that compassion be found in the hearts of our elected state representatives, officials, those that have been put in position of authority to continue dedicating themselves wholeheartedly to serving the people. Let it be clear that we support paid sick leave for all Virginians. We also support energy justice for all. We against the prevention of illegal wage thefts. Let us understand and let wisdom guide us through this resolve that will best serve our communities and fellow citizens. Let not our efforts be in vain. For you love kindness and justice, and whatever you love, let us embrace. Amen.
I'm going to move straight to some of our sponsors because I know they are all working on really rough schedules here. So I think I'm going to go with Delegate Guzman first, who is championing our paid sick day, and then we'll do our wage step bill. Does that work for folks? All right, Delegate Guzman.
Good morning. I am Delegate Elizabeth Guzman, and I proudly represent the 31st District, which includes parts of Prince William and Fauquier counties. And this year, I am also privileged to partner with Virginia Interfaith to introduce House Bill 898, the Paid Sick Days Act, that will provide 40 hours of paid time off to every Virginian. And there is also a clause that will include some time off for part-time employees as well. It is important for us to know that there is currently 1.2 million Virginians, constituting 41% of workers who do not have access to paid sick days. A sick workforce is unproductive and healthy workforce. Without letting people take time to go to the doctor's office and get healthy, we are increasing the likelihood of other employees getting sick and also missing time and just reducing general productivity. Smart businesses want healthy, productive employees, and paid sick days allows that. Education will also improve without children going to school sick and contagious, infecting their classmates and slowing down their productivity. My paid sick days have been lifesavers in taking my children to see the doctor and also take care of my mother. That's actually one of the reasons where, as you know, being a legislator is a part-time job, and my full-time job is working for the government, a local government in Virginia, which actually provide paid sick time off, so I could take care of my children when they are sick, or I can get to stay home when I don't feel well, or take care of my mother when she needs to go to the doctor. There is a strong coalition this year behind this issue, including educators, workers, businesses, and the faith community. Virginia needs sick days for a healthy and productive workforce. The people that do not have sick days are the people that prepare your food in restaurants and take care of your children in daycares. The people who work as home health aides and take care of your elderly parents. They deserve the time to recover and be healthy so they can do their job better and keep your loved ones as well healthy. So this is what the bill, I'm partnering with Senator Favola, also in the Senate, So this is not a new concept for many legislators. We actually have been working on this bill throughout the year, and we have brought to the attention of many legislators the importance to have access to paid time off. And, for individuals, because many people would say, what happens if I already offering paid time off? So the good news about this bill is that if you're already offering paid time off to your employees, you will be fulfilling with the requirements of this bill. We have also added an exemption for companies that have 5 employees or fewer, so they'll have to give time off, but it doesn't have to be paid. So is that what the bill does? With that, before, I'm currently right now in a committee meeting, but I would love to have any questions, if there are any, before I leave. Yes, sir.
Does this also count for paid leave for women for pregnancies and things of that nature? Like, a woman becomes pregnant, does that allow her to, if a doctor tells her to stay home, not doing work, does that count towards that also?
This bill would provide 40 hours of paid time off, so that pregnant women could use it for the doctor's appointment, because, having 4 children, you have, at least at the beginning of your pregnancy, 1 appointment every 3 months, and then closer to your pregnancy, once a month, and then once a week. So they could definitely use this time off to go to the doctor. Now, there are many organizations already in Virginia, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank Governor Ralph Northam, who has already provided parental leave for state employees. And that's something that he's bringing back this year also for mothers as well, to take time off up to 12 weeks.
But you're trying to make a state law for all employers?
All employees, yes, this is for all employees, 40 hours.
Other questions? All right, we'll let her run back to committee.
All right, thank you.
For the last few years, the Virginia Interfaith Center has really championed bills around wage theft, and how do we make sure that workers, especially low-wage workers, get paid for all the work that they do. And Virginia has not been good in this space. And we were honored to partner with Delegate Price last year on a bill, and we're excited to continue with her on several bills. And then Delegate Carol Foy is really helping champion a wage theft bill as well around private cause of action. So let them fight it out.
No fighting. Thank you. My name is Delegate Marcia Price, and I have the honor of representing the 95th District, which is Newport News and a tiny part of Hampton. But as Kim said, we established last year that there is language in the Virginia Minimum Wage Act that is discriminatory based on the types of work. And we were successful in removing exemptions from the Minimum Wage Act that were based in Jim Crow era philosophies, and we are back together to continue that work. And just like I get compensated for a hard day's work, so should all Virginians. But sometimes we end up valuing certain types of work over others, and that can lead us to forgetting the humans that are really behind those jobs. So domestic workers, for instance, have hard jobs as home health care workers, nannies, house cleaners, and cooks, and their work really allows for other people to do their work. So it's foundational to our economy really being able to run, and they should be fairly compensated. So the first bill that we're working on together is House Bill 338, that would remove from the list of exemptions the domestic workers and require that they be paid minimum wage. Also in that list of exemptions is someone who works for a company of 3 or less employees. The right of an employee to be fairly compensated does not shift based on the size of a company. And so we're going to use House Bill 339 to eliminate that exemption. And together, these bills would help more Virginians be able to earn and make the minimum wage. Additionally, right now, it is legal for Virginians to be fired if they make a complaint about wage theft. So Virginians exist under the precarious situation of having to live under injustice with their wages being stolen or be fired altogether for that complaint being made. Very beautiful song. That's one of my favorite.
It's a good song.
But everyone deserves to get paid for their hard day's work, and they should not be fired simply for speaking up when they are being wronged. So House Bill 336 would establish a mechanism such that if an investigation of a complaint of wage theft uncovers information that more than just that employee that put in the complaint has been impacted, that the commissioner can go on and investigate on behalf of more employees. And then House Bill 337 would establish whistleblower protections and make it illegal to fire an employee as retribution or retaliation for filing a complaint. So these 4 bills that I'm partnering with the organization would be an attempt to help hard-working Virginians have more financial security. And as they do their part on their jobs, it's our job to make sure that they're protected. Thank you.
Are there questions for Delegate Price?
I have one, just a little bit of clarification who this, when you say home care workers, who's that cover?
Domestic workers, so like nannies, cooks, and home health care workers. So if there's an organization, say for instance, my grandmother and my great-grandmother both lived to be over 100. And so there was a wonderful team of people that would come in and be with them because they couldn't be by themselves during the day, which freed up my family and I to be able to go out and do our jobs. And so they were there taking care of our loved ones, and they should be paid at least the minimum wage.
And I assume that you're for y'all are for the raise of the minimum wage too?
So separately, I will say Delegate Price does support, I do support raising that minimum wage, but as it stands now, these current workers are not even guaranteed the current minimum wage. And so that is really important to me. So yes, there are lots of conversations that are going on, but these bills are not specifically tied to the fate of raising the wage. We are trying to get them at least to the current minimum wage as it is made today. Thank you.
Awesome.
Good morning. I am Delegate Jennifer Kilfoy, and I represent Prince William and Stafford in the Virginia House of Delegates. I'm here to talk about my bill, HB 123. I would like to thank Virginia Interfaith for all of their hard work and dedication to such an important issue. So one of my first introductions to wage theft was when I was an Arlington public defender, and I had a client, and I didn't understand how he was eligible for a public defender, because you have to be like over 100% below the poverty line in order to qualify for court-appointed counsel. And I knew he was a construction worker. And so I asked him, I said, well, what's going on with your job? Were you recently fired? And so that's when he informed me that he was diligently working, going to work every day, almost completed a project in a building very close to where the courthouse was. And when he went back to work to get his paycheck, the contractor told him, if you come back here, I will call ICE and call the police. And so although he had worked for months, he was denied a paycheck. Wage theft also reared its ugly head when I encountered a woman who had actually worked an ample amount of hours in overtime, and her employer refused to pay her and said, we don't have the funds to give it to you right now. And that right now became months and years that went by, that she actually worked for free when the understanding was that she was going to be paid. So, we are starting a new era where workers in Virginia get the dignity they deserve. We are creating a new commonwealth where everyone, regardless of where you live or where you're from, gets the opportunity to raise a family and live a life in the middle class if you work for it. House Bill 123 would do a number of things. First, it would allow employees who are victims of wage theft to be awarded 3 times their lost wages in court. And second, it would open up contractors to liability if their subcontractors engage in wage theft or other illegal activities to deliberately harm workers. So let me be clear. The majority of employers in the Commonwealth, they do right by their employees. They treat them well. What this bill is aimed to do is to target those bad actors. If you are deliberately defrauding workers of their wages, if you are literally stealing from workers and families, if you are stealing from the state, from the Commonwealth of Virginia, by depriving workers of their pay and us of our taxes, then we will come after you. You will be held accountable. We don't have any place for companies who take advantage of workers here in the Commonwealth. When companies steal wages from workers, they are not only hurting the worker, but they are depriving a person of their ability to pay their rent, of their child to go to college, and even hurting the chance of putting food on the table. It's time for Virginia to lift communities up. It's time to prosecute bad actors. It's time to make Virginia not just #1 for business, but #1 for workers. I'll open it up to any questions. Yes.
Is there an attorney fees provision in the bill?
So I believe in this version of the bill, there is an attorney's fees provision. Reasonable attorney fees, that's provided.
That's very helpful.
Yes. Any other questions?
Yes, does this also require the employer to hire the person back if they get fired?
No, that is not a provision that's in this bill, that you would have to, the employer would be mandated or required to rehire the employee. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you all for your time and attention to this matter, and please support passing this HB 123. Thank you.
All right, and we will let these delegates go if they want. I can see they're like chomping at the bit.